Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and you're listening to Going In Raw, baby.
Hey guys, this is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up, it's your girl, Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you're watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw. Going In Raw View. That's right. Today is that time of the month, Larson, where we take a look at the past.
Yeah.
At an old pay-per-view.
Yes.
And we give our thoughts about it. Of course, this past Friday, yesterday, I guess, we did our watch party for WrestleMania 9.
Oh, wow.
Chosen by, we provided 3 options for our $10 and up a month patrons.
You.
What's that?
Chosen by them. You.
We offered up
not us. You.
Perhaps one of the most important pay-per-views, one of the most important WrestleManias, rather, because it's WrestleMania season. We offered up 3, 6, and then 9.
Yeah.
So, like, one of the most important, allegedly one of the best, Hogan versus Warrior, and then the worst,
the absolute worst,
9. And I don't know, man. I'm glad we watched 9 instead of 2 because 2 is also known as, and 8 is also known as a really bad one.
I've seen 8. 8's not terrible.
Yeah. Well, you're also a big fan of Sid.
Yeah, Sid's great. But also that Mania had Macho Man versus Flair for the title.
Yeah.
It's a good match.
9, of course.
Bruce Pritchard thought it was either 8 or 9 was the worst.
Yeah.
But what does he know?
What does he know? He was only there.
You know where Hogan was wrestling after he won this title.
Yeah, he was pretty confused about that. We did, we actually did, the amount of research we did on WrestleMania 9 included listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard.
That's the full extent of it.
Exactly, that's what we did. We did that, exactly. But it's a wealth of knowledge, a lot of interesting little tidbits there that will...
Yeah, it fleshed out some of the backstory of what happened before the show which led to the show we had. Because it's a bit of a mess. So apparently this time WWF was hit with some injury issues.
Yeah.
Flair was gone by this point. Macho Man either did it or did not want to be an active competitor anymore, depending on whose perspective is true.
He either wanted to do a long program with Shawn Michaels
or he wanted to work less dates and get into commentary.
Yeah.
But then he went to WCW anyways and wrestled for almost 10 more years. So who knows?
So like this is obviously sort of the end. Like if you take a look at WrestleMania,
this is the beginning
9,
of the end of Hulkamania and WWF.
And I mean, just the end. Like, and it's definitely sort of a dead horse at this point. The golden age of Hulkamania, of rock and wrestling, whatever you want to call it. That kicked things that sort of kicked off with WrestleMania 1. At this point, if you look ahead at WrestleMania 10. You obviously have a big change of the guard. You got guys like Luger and Hart and Yokozuna main eventing. But, of course, you got Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon putting together a lot of the stuff that you sort of see the seeds of here.
Owen Hart with a larger, more prominent position within the company as well.
Right, exactly. So, and then, of course, obviously what's most notable about the next WrestleMania is who's missing,
Yes.
No Hogan, no Macho Man, no this, no that, the other one.
Yeah. No Beefcake.
No $1 Million Man. So this is definitely a transitionary time, as illustrated in the Something to Wrestle podcast as well, in terms of their business as well.
Yes.
Lots of change in sort of the TV landscape. One of the more interesting things that Pritchard was talking about was just how much infomercials, because I distinctly remember.
Oh, yeah, totally. But I didn't know they'd pay $6,000 an hour.
Yeah.
That must be a bunch of stuff Ronco sold to get that money back.
Right, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But they go into detail how ever since pretty much WrestleMania 5, year after year, attendance, gross receipts, all that on the downward trajectory. I don't know if the way it was framed in Something to Wrestle with, this wasn't the low point from a financial perspective. But it definitely seemed to be the kind of a low point from a creative perspective.
It was a low point from a creative perspective, and also it was obviously a moment of a massive reluctance on the part of Vince McMahon. He was dragged out of the golden age of wrestling, kicking and screaming. That's what it's kind of. It's kind of obvious.
Kind of still feels that way.
It's like he's being dragged into the modern age. kicking and screaming right now.
I mean, because ever since the decline of Hulkamania, it seems like every few years he has it in his brain that he can manufacture the next face of the company.
Yeah.
You know, because after Hogan, it was Diesel. He's going to be the guy. Doesn't matter if he can wrestle a lick.
Yeah.
We'll put him out there in prominent positions. Oh, he's gaining a following. He's the new guy. And then
Well, there was also Luger. He thought that Luger
for a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, Diesel is one they really kind of pulled the trigger on to try to make the face of the company have the belt for a year. It seemed like they were setting up Rocky Maivia to be that as well. Crowds dumped all over it. Wisely, they turned him heel, and he's one of the greatest, most popular WWE superstars of all time. More recently, Roman Reigns. He's not a fan of developing anything organically, probably because he thinks, well, back in 1984 or whatever, I brought this guy in who had wrestled a few matches for me, put the belt on him, and then my wrestling company was the biggest wrestling company the world had ever seen. Why can't I just do that again?
Yeah.
Well, things were a lot different in 1984 when Hogan won that title.
Yeah.
A lot different.
And things were changing quite a bit in 1993 as well. So, yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. And a couple of people noted this during our watch party, which was a lot of fun, and thanks everybody
thank you everybody
for coming out to
for
that.
Joining in.
That this I will say this about this show. I am a fan of good wrestling. I am actually a fan of bad wrestling. I cannot stand boring wrestling. This was not boring. It was just really bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
And to me, that there is still entertainment, especially when, and this is what people noted in the stream, when you're there with a bunch of people all watching it in tandem, it can be a lot of fun. It's like watching a really bad movie.
Together, yeah.
You know, you don't want it to be boring. And that was sort of I've never watched WrestleMania 2. I know you've said that you've tried to, and it's very,
I've
very
seen
boring.
it. No, I've seen it before.
Yeah, but I mean, like, since you were a little kid, though, have you seen it in like the last 5 years?
No, not in the last 5 years.
Right, but you sort of inherently know it's just
even
really
as a kid, I
boring.
knew the main event was dull and boring.
Okay, then you know it's bad.
Yeah.
And this was not that. There was a lot of weird, funny, dumb, bad things going on, including the fact that it was Roman themed.
Yeah, the venue was at Caesar's Palace. I don't know if this was a arena or a stadium they had, or if it's something they built specifically for the show.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
It was 16,000 people was the number.
I think there is something there because I think they've had boxing events there and such in the past. Decent turnout. And the Pritchard podcast are talking a lot about how there's a lot of casino buys for the show, you know, because I guess that's something that what casinos would do for the major fights. They'd buy a bunch of the best tickets and then invite some of their VIPs,
high rollers,
out, comp them tickets in a room with the expectation they'll drop, you know, several, if not hundreds of G's at the tables gambling.
Even if that's the case, though, I mean, the crowd was actually pretty hot.
There was like one couple sitting towards hardcam ringside that I don't think they moved once during the entire show.
Interesting.
I noticed.
Yeah.
Right by the aisle. They just sat there.
How could they not know they're a piece of wrestling history? They're witnessing history.
I guess.
Show kicked off with Gorilla Monsoon introducing the show in a toga.
Yeah.
He threw to the debuting Jim Ross.
Yeah, it was JR's first show working for the WWE.
And he in his very first show, at some point,
He said slobber knocker.
he introduced the term slobber knocker.
And Heenan asked him, what is a slobber knocker? What word did you just say?
I didn't hear what response he gave.
I didn't either. Anyways, pageantry continued because Caesar and Cleopatra were brought into the arena.
Rawgate technology existed even back in 1993.
Yeah. And then next, Macho Man. What do you call those things? Are they called hand cars?
No, I thought that isn't the hand. No, it's a ricket. Is the ricket same thing as a hand car? What's the thing where you hold on to and you run?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe. It's
that
not
a
called a
ricket?
ricket. No,
That's not a
it's
ricket?
a rickshaw.
Oh, what's a rickshaw?
No, that's a rickshaw.
Oh, that's a rickshaw.
Yeah,
Okay, ricket. I just made that up.
rickets rickets is a affliction of some sort.
Oh no. Oh dear.
But then what's those things called? They're platforms. They're either there's some sort of throne or chair, or in Macho Man's case here, some sort of like a chaise lounge that is carried by hand by, again in this case, 4 very muscular dudes.
I'm sure somebody has written a review where they use the term Macho Man carried in on a, and I'm going to see what they have to say here. Let's see here.
Well, there's WrestleMania 9.
Right here, the Wikipedia entry just says, while he rode on a couch carried by guards. It was not a couch.
Well, it was a couch with handles on it. Anyways, that's a lot of time we're spending talking about what this thing was called. Anyways, he enters the arena. He's being fed grapes. He seems perfectly happy. JR does a brief interview with Macho Man. He's at the commentary booth for this show, not actively wrestling. Next, Bobby Heenan enters the arena, riding backwards on a camel.
Yeah.
To great comedic effect.
Big goofball entrance for Bobby Heenan. And, of course, everything after that is just one giant pratfall. He gets off the camel, and he starts pratfalling everywhere. And, of course...
You see his chonies, his undies.
You see his blue underwear, which matches his blue toga.
Yeah.
It's all very funny.
Yes.
I love Bobby Heenan.
Oh,
he's great.
the best.
Yeah.
Show kicks off in the ring with Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels, who apparently was just returning from a separated shoulder, taking on Tatanka.
So
he was still in the midst of his undefeated streak.
Beyond the confusing finish, this was a decent match.
Yeah. Well, it's got Shawn Michaels in it. Of course it'd be a decent match.
But Tatanka, he really couldn't keep it. Honestly, it's a good match because Shawn Michaels, everything he does is awesome. But you could also see that it was obvious that they should have just done like Michaels versus Perfect here. Give Lex Luger Tatanka.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry. They had a match later on in their careers.
Lex Luger and Tatanka?
Yeah.
What is that from? Oh, that was like the last thing that Lex Luger did, wasn't it?
94-ish, I want to say.
Yeah, that was like the last thing he did, I think.
At some point in 94, they had a feud.
So,
that involved DiBiase in some way when he was the manager at that point.
It was so obvious that HBK was just slowing himself down to a great degree for Tatanka.
There's that one spot, kind of like the victory roll spot, that was kind of clunky. And it seemed like, HBK was kind of going in slow motion
There was a lot of rest holds and Tatanka milling about.
I will say this, though. I don't remember Tatanka having such a heavy hand with those chops.
Yeah,
Man,
no, he had a good chop.
There were some thunderclaps with those chops.
I just feel like, he does his Native American inspired sort of entrance where he has to do a lot of cardio stuff. And I feel like that's kind of all he had to offer in terms of cardio. Like, he really did have a lot in the tank there. And it kind of showed because you're just used to HBK. That dude can go, and it's obvious the other guy couldn't. But no, beyond that, I mean, HBK can even turn that into a fun match, and that's what he did here.
Some decent back and forth, a lot of chops. At one point, Tatanka no-sells, I believe, a drop kick from Shawn Michaels. Does his version of the Hulk out.
Yeah.
Even points at HBK. He nails Michaels with a flurry of chops and then hits a top rope crossbody. Michaels kicks out. Yeah. And then HBK goes for his own top rope crossbody. Tatanka catches him. Drops him with a power slam.
That was a good move.
Yeah. HBK goes for a fun splash off the apron. Tatanka moves. So HBK kind of the idea was head hit the ring steps. And then he pulls the ref out of the ring, Michaels does, after they're brawling it outside for a little bit.
Yeah, so here comes the finish.
Back in the ring, Tatanka hits a Samoa drop. The ref calls for the bell.
Which is the second thing that JR incorrectly identified as a fall-away slam.
During this match.
Yeah, during this particular match.
First thing was the electric chair move, and then Samoa drop, he said a fall-away. Ref calls for the bell, and we're like, okay, well, Michaels was DQ'd for pulling the ref out.
Yeah, put his hands on the ref.
Apparently there's a count out at some point.
That was weird.
I don't think they're outside the ring for 10 seconds.
No, they weren't.
I didn't see anybody counting.
No, the ref clearly has to get to 10 in order to call it a count out.
Sure enough, Finkel said winner by count out.
Yeah, Finkel said count out, and then commentary tried to sell it as a count out too.
I feel like of the two parties, Michaels and Tatanka was the last one in the ring.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So how is it a count out?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Zero sense whatsoever.
Anyways,
it's funny because just getting back to HBK a little bit. I mentioned this during the stream. There are so many moves that we see him and even like the Steiners to a degree, guys who are ahead of their time.
Yeah.
These moves that they pull off that the other wrestlers are like still trying to figure out how to even sell them. HBK does off the top, like a sunset flip.
Yeah, it's a victory roll thing.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah,
and Tatanka he doesn't get between the legs. He gets like off to the side. It didn't make any sense.
And he rolls more on the shoulder and then back. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see that because these days, so many wrestlers, if you look at, for example, the Young Bucks, like they obviously are heavily influenced by HBK. Like a lot of people these days, it used to be Flair. Like HBK's generation, they were influenced by Flair.
And now this generation
is influenced by HBK.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to see the moves that guys these days you literally take for granted at every like indie show or Ring of Honor or whatever, even WWE, whatever. Because these guys just know how to do it so crisply and they make it look so easy. But back when it was these kinds of moves were being pioneered, these old, these wrestlers, some of them are just clunky.
Yep.
They just don't know how to do it.
Yep.
It's great.
After the match ended, Luna Vachon, who was HBK's manager, valet.
It was her debut also.
Yeah. Pulls Sensational Sherry, who was HBK's former valet, off the apron, hits her with a clothesline and a power slam. There were several instances where Luna looked like she was going to, walk around ringside to get involved in the action, and Sherry would get in between her and Tatanka. I don't remember how that story played out. After that, Mean Gene, he was the best, backstage interviewing the Steiner brothers. This was their WWE debut.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view debut, at least.
Yeah. I imagine I have seen Scott Steiner promos that predated his time as a Big Papa Pump. But if I did, they never really stood out to me. Watching Scott Steiner, the seeds for Big Papa Pump were just
totally there,
clearly there.
Yeah.
They were just clear. Because it's so weird to think that this is only 7.5 years away from, 4.5 years away from Big Papa Pump.
Yeah.
Because
roughly.
it feels like a lifetime before that.
I know.
It feels like 10 years before
know.
then. Like, especially because he had that big old mullet going.
Yeah.
But
He
they
just had
give
to up the tone of his voice a little bit to make it a little more high pitched, and it's totally Big Papa Pump.
Yeah.
At the end, Rick Steiner says they're going to go make Julius Caesar proud, win this match.
Possible he's dead.
Yeah, has been for a very long time.
Yeah, so I don't know how they can do that.
Can't. So the match, the Head Shrinkers taking on the Steiners. Of course, the Head Shrinkers, including a very young Rikishi. This was a fun match, hard hitting.
This was a physical, fun, pretty awesome match. This was a really awesome tag team match. There was some stiff, those Steiner clotheslines.
Steiner lines.
They are so stiff and fun to watch when people are selling them.
That's why they get their own name.
Yeah, Steiner lines.
Steiner lines.
I'd never actually heard that before.
Oh yeah, they used to say that in WCW.
Yeah, I don't pay attention. Man, they look really great though.
You remember Tony Schiavone saying Steiner line?
I honestly don't.
Wow.
No.
Well, all right then.
It was like 20 years ago, so.
I figure some things are just indelibly etched in your brain.
Well, that's not one of them. Nothing Tony Schiavone said was ever going to be.
Are you sure?
Etched in my brain.
We got to go. Robin Hood is next. Is not forever etched in your mind.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. And also the butts and seats line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Early on, this looked like it could have gone bad really quickly. Both the Steiners go on the top rope. Their feet didn't look terribly steady.
No.
But they did manage to hit double top rope Steiner lines on the Head Shrinkers.
So wait a second. So the Steiner line
is a clothesline from a Steiner.
Okay, so it's simply a clothesline delivered by a Steiner.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
With the force that only a Steiner can deliver it. That's really the key.
Do they have is it just like
the clothesline from hell is just a clothesline.
Yeah.
But when JBL delivers it, it's from hell.
Yeah. Which doesn't make sense because he was not a supernatural character.
Not at all.
I do know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, was that move dubbed during his days as an acolyte? Because there was supposed to be some sort of supernatural business with him, and therefore it would have made some semblance of sense.
I don't know if it was after APA split off from, because I think once they split off from the ministry, they were no longer supernatural characters.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would have had to have been dubbed, I would think. Because I
During
don't see
their
him
time.
calling it clothesline from hell when he was a cowboy
Yeah.
with Barry Windham.
That made any sense. When he was a blackjack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No.
I don't know either.
There was one scary spot during this match which you had looked down and you were writing notes.
I missed the tumble.
Yeah, man. Scott Steiner, he I don't know, man. He just rushed at Rikishi or Samu and took a tumble right out of the ring, and it was looked like it was right on his head. I don't know, it just looked ugly. There's a lot of ugly in this match, but it was all very cool. It was like watching a bar fight.
Yeah, exactly. Scott Steiner flies out of the ring, and then Alpha, who was the Head Shrinkers manager, destroyed him with one of the long stick pull type things that the Head Shrinkers walked down the ring with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounded like, like the kind of the rattle of a kendo stick.
Like kendo stick, yeah.
But more so because it was larger.
Yeah, it was great because Scott Steiner takes a tumble over the I think it was like over the second rope.
And then gets bashed in his
immediately, like he's like, oh God, I'm probably concussed. Yeah.
Yeah. Samu misses a flying headbutt. Scott after that is in the match for seemingly 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's in there forever, and like most of the time he's like doing an army crawl trying to get to the hot tag, and then like he gets stood up, move, and then he gets a move off. And then before he can go back and get a tag,
Head shrinkers get the advantage.
They get like a super kick on him or whatever.
Yeah. He finally gets the hot tag to Rick. Rick puts forth some offense, but
doles out some Steiner lines.
Yeah. Then he eats a double skull crushing finale from the head shrinkers. Head shrinkers go for some sort of doomsday device type move. Rick catches, I think it's Samu, and then does the power slam off of Rikishi's shoulder, similar to what Kazarian did at All In.
Yeah, it was rad. Again, very clunky and ugly, but it looked really cool.
Yeah, when Kazarian did it, was way smoother.
Yeah.
At All In against one of the Briscoe brothers. In the end, Scott comes back in. He hits a Frankensteiner on Samu. Steiners get the win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the WrestleMania debut. Might have been their only WrestleMania as a tag team. They weren't in
Yeah,
WWE.
they were only in there for a second.
They weren't on WWF very long.
Yeah. That was one of the more interesting bits too about the Pritchard podcast, is that he mentioned that him and somebody else had pitched to Vince the idea of breaking up the Steiner brothers to bring Scott Steiner in to win the Royal Rumble and to be WWF champion.
Yeah, in his debut. Yeah, essentially.
That would have been interesting to say the least.
Because
let me ask you this. Here's an interesting situation. What if they did this? What if they brought him in, wins the Rumble, and then he wins the title?
From Brett. Because it would have been from Brett.
Okay, from Brett. But that's pre-WrestleMania. What about this? What if Scott Steiner walks into this WrestleMania with the title?
All right.
And Vince lays out the same scenario that he had for Brett.
Oh,
what do you think Scott Steiner's reaction would have been?
He would have lost his mind.
He'd have rolled over in his grave.
Yeah, that would have been something else. Yeah, that
bringing Hogan in here.
That would not have gone.
You're
down
bringing
well.
Hogan in here.
That would not have gone down well.
I don't think so, Vince. And then he beats up everybody.
Yeah, probably.
Because Yoko's nothing but a fat bastard, fat ass.
Next, Doink. He had an interview. I feel like Doink, like if Matt Bourne could have done what he really wanted to do with Doink, it'd been Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah, it probably
and
could
it
have
probably
been
pretty cool.
I know.
But it really felt kind of watered down. There was a lot of darkness brewing within that character that was teased, but I feel like it could have even gone way further. If it wasn't trying to be a family-friendly product.
Was it Gacy that used to get in the clown suit?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Matt Bourne, he had sort of a Gacy vibe to him, dude.
Yeah, a little bit seemed off.
A little off. A little messed up. His teeth was a little yellow.
Mm-hmm.
A little messed up. Mm-hmm. It was good, though. I liked it.
Yeah, an interview in those flowers. He shot Gene with some water.
Crush was, of course, the 90s equivalent to generic creator wrestler.
Yeah.
Nothing really special about him.
Except the color palette he chose for his ring gear.
Was the most 90s.
Pre-90s. It was like a bright coral, purple and yellow. Goldenrod, actually.
Who's it? Like coral? I don't even know.
It was coral, really bright coral, but kind of like almost a pastel purple.
Coral color. I'm going to see if you're right about this, because I think you're right. Oh, my God. Look at that. That is coral right there, man.
I know my colors, dude.
That's good. Like, it looks like candy.
I know.
I just want to eat it.
So he walks to the ring, Bryan Adams.
And they did like a little video package before where Doink had a fake arm that Crush grabbed.
No, that Doink removed from his body and then started beating Crush up with it.
Yeah. And so that was their backstory.
Yeah. We saw a pile driver in this match, so that was cool. Doink hit a pile driver on Crush.
It wasn't cool, man. Crush didn't know how to take it, apparently, because he's...
No, that's how they took it back then. Everybody took it like that back then.
I've seen it back in the early 80s when they tuck and they take it on their shoulders and everything's fine.
He believes in the power of his trapezius, man.
Dude, you got to tuck on the pile driver, man. That dude took it square on his head.
Took on the crown of his head, man.
And then he looked messed
dazed.
up.
He looked a little dazed from the
He looked nauseous afterwards. He rolls out of the ring. He's like,
you know what? It might just been hot out there because Hogan looked nauseous several times during this pay-per-view too. Doink goes for something off the top rope. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Crush gets his boot up. Again, Doink goes to the top rope, jumps off. Crush catches him, takes him, then drops him with a power slam. Mm-hmm. And then Crush's finisher was called the Kona Crush, where he would just try to smash someone's head.
It was like this. But then Doink just walks up to the rope and puts his foot on it.
He doesn't care. He needs to Crush needs to employ some sort of grapevine or something with that to keep the person grounded while he's trying to crush their head.
Terrible finisher.
You ever seen Strange Brew?
No, actually, I have not.
You should check it out. Max von Sydow is a villain in it.
Oh, I love Max.
And that's like his finisher too. He uses the Kona Crush, but he's not a wrestler. He's superpowered, but he'll go behind one of the people who works in the brewery for him. He goes behind him and tries to crush his head.
Oh wow,
Kona Crush. So it's a legitimate finisher, Steve.
Did Max von Sydow? Did he finish off anybody with the Kona Crush?
I think so.
Well, that's more than I can say for Crush.
But yeah, Doink gets the ropes, but there's a ref bump. Crush puts Kona Crush on Doink again, and then a second Doink enters the ring.
Other Doink enters.
Doink 2. He has the fake arm. He destroys Crush with it, first across the back, then over the head. Both of the Doinks do like a mime routine.
Yeah. And
then Doink 2 exits. Doink 1 pins Crush gets the win.
No, Kona Reeves was not in this pay-per-view.
And then, Yep.
Yeah, that was.
So the first two matches were actually kind of fun.
Yeah, right.
This match was not fun. It was slow. It was plodding. It was clumsy. It took the crowd completely out of the show.
Yeah, Crush. He was a very plodding wrestler. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the thing. I won't even pin the crapness of this match on Doink. I pin on Crush, man. How generic can you get? It's not good. That dude's still alive, isn't he?
Brian Adams?
Is he alive or dead?
I'm not sure.
He was Team Chronic, right?
Yeah, I think Brian Clark passed away.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Brian
Adams, wrestler. I have to make sure I specify wrestler. Otherwise,
and not
I'm going to get
musician.
Musician. All for one.
All for love.
Oh, no. Yeah, he died in 2007. He died 12 years ago.
What about Brian Clark?
Let's find out now. Let's see here.
While you do that, next, Todd Pettengill was up in the crowd. And there was a cameraman from Japan, and he asked him, "What do you think of the show so far? What do you think of Vegas?"
Brian Clark is alive.
Oh, I got him mixed up. Sorry.
Good for him. Adam Bomb.
Yeah, I knew one member.
Adam Bomb lives.
One member of Chronic had passed away.
Yeah.
Todd Pettengill talked to a Japanese cameraman.
Yeah, he says, "What do you? Did you see a second Doink, or was it an illusion?"
Why were they pushing that angle?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's obviously two separate people in there. What kind of illusion are you talking about?
Clearly two different Doinks. Because the second Doink had like full makeup on.
Yeah.
Didn't look anything like Matt Bourne.
No.
Yeah.
Well, they were roughly the same height and build, though.
Well, yeah. But it was a different guy.
Yeah, totally.
And then he asked, what does the cameraman think of Las Vegas? And cameraman said, Las Vegas, number one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
After that, we had, Razor Ramon. Why did we only get 3 minutes of Razor Ramon in this whole pay-per-view?
I know. We should have got 20 minutes of Razor Ramon and 3 minutes of Money Inc. versus Hogan and Beefcake.
Razor Ramon versus Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund fought in this match. Apparently, according to the Pritchard podcast, also, Vince just had a soft spot for Bob Backlund, so he put him on a pay-per-view with one of his top rising stars. Biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah, but at least they got the finish right, because Razor Ramon won. Granted, it was via inside cradle after Backlund dropped him with the most ridiculous atomic drop I've maybe ever seen.
That atomic drop looked terrible. It was like Razor Ramon didn't know how to, I don't know where the disconnect here was, but those hip tosses were weird.
Yeah.
Razor, it just looked, I'll put it this way. Bob Backlund, so when we do our wrestling math, Bob Backlund, his look is like a 2.
Yeah.
He literally, that's part of his gimmick. Back in the 70s, that was his gimmick, is just all-American dude, right? So he was the most NPC, generic creator wrestler guy. He was not even creator. He was what you start out with creator wrestling.
Yeah, it's default.
It's default. He's default, right?
Yeah.
I mean, heck of an actual wrestler.
Yeah. I think he's a pretty highly decorated amateur wrestler.
Exactly, yeah. So good for him. And some of his crazy stuff from 94, whenever they put the title on him,
with Brett,
was kind of cool. It was kind of interesting. I like that stuff. He was a weird guy. It's great. But him in just a regular wrestling match with a big beef dude like Scott Hall, it just didn't look like it didn't make It didn't look like it made any
I will
sense for
say-
Scott Hall to be hip tossed by this little guy.
Oh no, it doesn't. And maybe part of the awkwardness on Scott Hall's cell was just the height difference.
That's what it felt
There's
like.
at least probably 6 inches difference in height.
It was almost like, like the matches of like Kenny Omega or Kota Ibushi having a match with like a blow up doll.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. Like you're selling for something that just doesn't make any sense for you to be selling for.
Yeah, but hats off to Scott Hall for trying his damnedest
he
to
was
make
the
Backlund
best.
look good.
Oh, he was great.
Because it made it seem like that he kind of pulled a fast one on Backlund getting the win with an inside cradle.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Razor Ramon was over. He was supposed to be a heel. Crowd was cheering for him.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a bad guy, but the crowd loved him.
I mean, how can you not love
That was one of
Razor
those
Ramon?
things where it was just, it was obvious that they had to turn him face.
Yep.
Which I think they did shortly after.
Yep.
'Cause, man, he was good.
He was. Next, we had a Money Inc. interview. Ted DiBiase, Erwin R. Shyster. DiBiase, man,
Let me
he was
ask you
great on the
something
mic.
real
What?
quick. If Scott Hall had stayed around,
Mm-hmm.
obviously he'd still have the name Razor Ramon. Mm-hmm. Would he have still worn the? Because purple and bright green, they're not exactly Attitude Era type colors. Would he have switched
No.
up his gear to tone it down?
He
to
had
like,
other colored gear. He had black and
He had
yellow
black
and red.
with
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like, the razors on it were kind of goofy. Like, Attitude Era was all about, like,
He
toning
might
it
have
down a
done.
bit.
His Outsider's gear looked like blood dripping off the waistband. He could do something like
I wonder
that.
if he would have adopted that if they would have had, like, a aesthetic change.
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, I would think so.
Could be.
I think so. Next, Money Inc. interview, IRS and DiBiase.
I wonder if he
DiBiase
ever
was
would have gotten
great
rid
on
of
the
the
mic.
accent. Sorry, I don't mean to harp on this, but I am kind of curious because, like, Superficial, like, Scott Hall is great. He's
Yeah.
great, but like Razor Ramon, the accent just always sounded a little awkward.
You know what they might have done? Because Razor Ramon apparently in some manner was supposed to be inspired by Tony Montana from Scarface. What if they went a little deeper into that? So he started wearing like white suits, like Naito does now.
yeah.
Coming in the ring in that. That'd been kind of
Oh, that could be kind of cool. Because his promos were so good just as himself.
Yeah.
I just like looking back at his Razor Ramon promos after you know him as Scott Hall and like how good he was on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And then listening to him do an accent like
I know.
this.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, dude, are you going to like Attitude Era? Would he have dropped that if he had stayed around? I
know.
wonder. I
don't
just
know.
kind of wonder.
I mean, if they hadn't gone to WCW, who knows how
Yeah.
the Attitude Era would have even happened.
Yeah.
Money Inc. interview, IRS, DiBiase, brilliant on the mic. IRS, not as much. But he did it in a roundabout way, take credit for Hulk Hogan's eye injury, which we'd see later on, more or less saying money can buy a lot of things, including assaulting your opponent the night before at the gym. You put a hit out on Hogan's eye.
Yeah, that was weird.
Led us to a tag title match, Money Inc., taking on the Megamaniacs, Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake.
Yeah. This is
So I've posited this theory several
so
times.
many notes for this match,
It's
too.
an overbooked disaster. It's a crap match. I've posited this theory several times, and granted, it needs more research.
We need to do a legit, well-produced video.
But based on the sample size of WrestleMania 9, how in the hell is Hulk Hogan considered a face? And I'm just basing on this match. I'm not getting to his interview he does later on yet.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just talking about this match.
Yeah.
He threatens a ref several times.
Yeah.
He pokes his opponent in the eye.
He uses a foreign object, the
mask.
mask.
He punches his opponent with a closed fist. That's breaking the rules. And several times he does it. He puts his opponent in a headlock, shields the contact from the referee so he can punch him.
Yeah.
Those are heel maneuvers.
Dude, it's and then
Hulk Hogan is a heel.
And then his manager has like an emergency referee jacket going on there. He just tosses that on, and they're supposed to win the titles, and then somehow they're DQ'd. Yeah, this match was a mess.
It's an absolute disaster. So let's go through it. Money Inc. attacks right at the bell, but Hogan and Beefcake clear the ring immediately. And after this is when Hogan starts threatening the ref.
It's the ego of Hogan. It's simply the ego of Hogan that he can get away with anything, and people will still love him. It's the ego of people who
If you
have
really look at it, if you really investigate,
yeah, man.
he is a bastard.
When you have so much power right here, when you have all the power, you can get away with almost anything and people will still adore you. And yeah, bastard is
What a
the right
bastard.
word. What a bastard.
Anyways, the Megamaniacs have the upper hand. Money Inc. says, we're out of here. And then Earl Hebner takes it upon himself to say, well, if you leave and you get counted out, you will lose the titles, Money Inc.
Hebner's way too much, dude. He
doesn't have the authority to do that.
He doesn't.
Where's
have
Jack
the authority
Tunney?
to do
Jack
that.
Tunney needs to make that ruling, not Earl Hebner.
Dude.
So, anyways, they get back to the ring. IRS starts choking Hogan with the rope while Ted DiBiase distracts the ref. See, those are outwardly heel maneuvers.
Yeah.
But if Hogan is being a heel and getting away with it, why can't Money Inc. be a heel too? Be heels too.
Yeah.
You know, DiBiase puts Hogan in the $1 Million Dream, and he's in the hole and he's kind of fighting it a little bit. You and I are talking, engaging with chat. It feels like 3 or 4 minutes go by. I turn the TV back to the TV, and Hogan is still like just getting on his knees, selling that $1 Million Dream.
Yeah.
A third of this match I felt like was $1 Million Dream.
It really was. Yeah.
And then after about 5 minutes, Hogan tries to Hulk out, fails, and this is really confusing. So at this moment, when DiBiase obviously has the upper hand, it seems like Hogan might be on the verge of passing out.
Mm-hmm.
IRS comes in the ring and distracts the ref, allowing Beefcake to go in there, knock DiBiase off Hogan, and apply a sleeper on DiBiase. I don't understand that at all.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make a lick of sense.
While they were booking this match, who said, okay, now that DiBiase has Hogan where he wants him, we should have IRS come in and distract
mess
the ref.
everything up.
Okay, tell us why. Because we need Beefcake to come in.
Because Beefcake needs his moment.
No. Why would he do that though? So Beefcake can can have his moment,
Brother.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hogan was the one booking this.
Yeah. So both Hogan and DiBiase are down the mat
because they're bad guys, brother.
Yeah. Beefcake gets the hot tag. He comes in. He bounces off the ropes. DiBiase hits him in the back of the briefcase, and then he takes off this apparently titanium platinum face mask,
like foam.
I know that Beefcake was wearing because he got crushed in the face with the briefcase, like on Raw or something, or Super
Rawgate Report.
Yeah, I know, Rawgate Report, totally. And then Beefcake puts IRS in the sleeper. DiBiase hits a double axe handle off the top rope or middle rope, and that drives IRS into the ref. We get a ref bump.
I always love Hebner's ref bumps because he falls and you can just see his legs go way up in the air. It's great.
I know.
He's really good at that.
Hogan comes in. He hits DiBiase and IRS with the face mask. Hebner's still out. Jimmy Hart gets in the ring. He takes off his jacket, turns it inside out. He has like referee stripes print.
Zero authority.
In the lining of his jacket. He gets down there. He counts the pinfall, and apparently Hogan and Beefcake are the new tag champions. Ref Danny Davis comes down. He wakes up to Hebner. He waves off the decision, saying, no, doesn't count.
Saying that guy is not a ref. So no, that doesn't count. And on top of that, by the way, Hogan and Beefcake are DQ'd. Match over. Those dudes get to keep their titles.
Yeah.
It was a DQ, right? It wasn't like a
it was a
count out
DQ. It was a
again.
DQ.
Okay, yeah, it was a DQ.
And then Hogan threatens that ref.
Yeah, and then in order to keep himself from getting suspended, I guess that's what commentary was saying. Jimmy Hart is the one who then grabs the ref and throws him overboard. The ref takes a big bump outside.
Yeah.
And then they all probably they post and they get the Rawgate Report briefcase, and inside is not Rawgate Report, but a bunch of obviously tax documents because of IRS. There's a bunch of cash money, and there's a brick, which Hogan's like, oh, yeah, they were going to use this, brother.
Yeah.
And then he starts giving the cash away, poses a lot. Beefcake.
They dance.
Beefcake, yeah, they do the
Fargo strut, kind of.
And Beefcake is insistent on, like...
making Hogan do it, too.
I mean, Beefcake, it's just too much. I mean, how much can you debase yourself if you're Beefcake, you know? Like, I get that Hogan, like, you're Hogan's ride or die.
I mean, he was cool. Changed his name, his kayfabe name, to the Disciple.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that I remember. Yeah, that I remember. He looked so weird at that point.
Yeah, he had that beard.
He looked so
like Jim
weird.
Morrison.
He did.
After that, Todd Pettengill interviews Natalie Cole.
Boy, Todd Pettengill was useless.
Who was sitting ringside, apparently. She was enjoying the show. And then opposite side of him was the CEO of Caesar's Palace, and he was saying, we've had a lot of events here. None of them has matched the enthusiasm we've seen here in this building today.
Yeah, his face. I mean, I know he had that boating accident.
Yeah.
His face legitimately looks different.
He had sunglasses on all the time, too.
Yeah, I mean, here he is.
Yeah, that's how I remember him.
I mean, he does. I'll be honest. He does actually look cooler as Disciple.
Oh yeah,
than
he
he
does.
did like here.
Yeah,
Like he's got a decent head of hair. He's got a good looking beard.
yeah. The beard looks nice. The glasses work for him. He looks like he's in good shape.
Bandanas are always cool too.
Yeah.
You know, Hogan never. If they were really friends, Hogan would have like politicked to get him an IC title, something like.
He might have been a tag champion at one point.
Like, let him move up the ranks. Let him branch off away from just being Hogan's sidekick.
I mean, if Hogan can get his nephew, who apparently couldn't wrestle at all,
Yeah.
some road dates, you'd think maybe
Right?
Beefcake. Yeah, he was a tag champ with Greg Valentine.
Oh, okay.
One
Well, That's
time.
good. That's good. Anyways, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a mess. Anyways, they throw a bunch of money in the audience and they leave. I mean,
Yeah.
That's technically theft right there.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. So anyways, yeah, Natalie Cole, then CEO of Caesar's Palace, who says, "Oh, we've never had this kind of energy in a room like this before. This is a great event. We're making lots of money off this. You know how many people have lost their life savings and killed themselves here, right here in the MGM Grand? Probably a lot." Moving on. Mr. Perfect gave an interview. God, I love him so much.
Oh man, he was great. Even
He's
messed
like-
up his lines. He's brilliant.
Oh, man. He was just so much fun. He was so much fun. I mean, Gene obviously loved him. They probably go back a long ways to the AWA.
Yep.
After that, we had Lex Luger, the narcissist.
You love this.
I love this. He came out with some, just dead sexy valets. Of course, he's dead sexy himself. Weird face. But, man, that body was great. Came
Yeah.
out, I think there was some studs with him, too.
Yeah.
Then they all, line of just amazing looking women from the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
They all showed like mirrors to him.
They had pyrotechnics on the top.
That had pyro mirrors, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's
at least
great.
It was like sparklers, but still, it was pyro.
And he like started showcasing his immaculate body. It's great.
But he had like the warmest face.
He
looked
did.
so friendly. There's
He had a
nothing
very
threatening or
friendly
menacing
face.
about him whatsoever.
I love Lex
He's supposed to be a
Luger.
bad guy.
I think he's great.
He didn't project menace whatsoever.
He doesn't need to project menace. He has the bionic elbow. That's menacing enough for him.
I guess so.
Yeah, man. So anyways, we had this match. I like the story of this. I didn't get to this part in the podcast, but you said that they had this, Mr. Perfect had this match worked out.
Yeah, but you can't really tell.
Oh, I know. So here's the story.
Well, sorry. There might be a pivot point where you can tell. So the story is that Luger in his book said that working with Mr. Perfect was great because he more or less had the day off because he'd work the match out. Perfect would know all the spots and he would call the whole match in the ring. And so, he just do what he says and it's easy. Well, apparently...
What a testament to a guy.
I know. Well, apparently, at some point during this match, Mr. Perfect forgot what they were supposed to do. But there's like the beginning of the match is really crisp.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple of moments where they're facing each other and there's some hesitancy. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, it doesn't feel as crisp. However, if they were calling this on the fly, they managed to tell a decent story.
Yeah.
With Perfect working over Luger's leg and Luger working over Mr. Perfect's back.
Yeah.
They still managed to find a story to tell and pull it off.
Yeah.
And it worked.
No, I thought it did too. I thought it was a pretty decent match. I mean, Mr. Perfect it's funny too, because like when the big thing about Mr. Perfect when they were building him up is, he's the most athletic guy.
Yeah.
And what's so funny about Perfect is that he's deceptively athletic. Like when you take one look at him, you take one look at HBK, it's like, oh, that guy's athletic. That guy can do some stuff.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect, yeah, I mean, he's in great shape. But then you see him flying around the ring.
You don't expect the spring.
You don't.
No.
The spring, that's exactly right. Those drop kicks, like him moving around the ring.
He did a leapfrog at one point over Luger.
Yeah.
And it was effortless, and he got some pretty decent height off the
Oh,
ground, man.
man. No, it was great.
Yeah, he's great. Mr. Perfect
Yeah,
was great.
he really was.
One of my favorites.
He was perfect.
He executed every move perfectly. Yeah, but if they cobbled together this match, it wasn't that bad. At one point, Luger goes for a pin, puts his feet on the rope. Ref spots it. Perfect hits the top rope drop kick. Goes for a pin. Luger gets his foot on the rope. See, there's a story here. Feet on ropes.
Yeah.
And then Lex reverses a backslide attempt from Perfect to his own backslide. Gets the pin, but Mr. Perfect's feet were in the ropes during the pinfall. After Luger wins, he lays out Mr. Perfect with a forearm. Mm-hmm. They're saying he had like a steel plate in it or something like that. That was the story.
The controversial forearm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then after Perfect comes to, he goes backstage looking for Luger, finds him, near some storage shed.
But Luger is talking to HBK.
Yeah, so after Perfect lays out Luger, HBK joins in and starts throwing garbage cans at Mr. Perfect's head.
Yeah, the first garbage can nailed him right in the head.
Yeah.
It looked awkward.
It did look awkward.
But yeah, it was great because HBK was just wearing jeans
And boots
and
over
cowboy
the jeans.
boots
Over the jeans.
Over
though.
the jeans. Yeah,
He had the jeans tucked into the boots.
He was ready for street fight.
He really was.
He just needs some elbow pads.
Totally. Next. Giant Gonzales taking on The Undertaker. This match is atrocious.
So let's talk about Giant Gonzales for a second.
All right.
Why was his gimmick giant naked guy with
I don't know.
with micro dick?
On the Pritchard show, he just said the creative services team just drew up a bunch of options for gear, and that was the one Vince
Why
liked.
would anybody
Vince
had
liked
thought, hey, let's pitch him a giant fucking naked dude
Doesn't make any
with
sense.
a micro dick.
And you can see the entire butt crack.
You can literally the butt crack is
airbrushed on, yeah. Like you have all this musculature that's airbrushed on, and like fake hair
and thick bush
and thick bush that goes from navel down to front area.
How is that? It's bizarre. Like it's bizarre to me that that's acceptable. It's bizarre to me that anybody looked at that and was like, giant naked dude with micro. That's good. Because like the dick is covered by the bush.
Yeah, I know.
Otherwise, you're naked.
Why don't you just do what they should have done? If they want to do that,
shoot naked. Shoot naked.
Well, no, I was gonna say do that, then just have the whole like area from front area to rear end just covered in a thicket of hair.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just have hair all over.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, even the butt's covered with hair. All right, it's just like super hairy.
It's weird though.
It's weird regardless.
It's fucking weird. It's messed up.
It is messed up.
Yeah.
I don't know how this ever got approved, but
why didn't this big dude just have a singlet? Just give him a big old singlet. Because like look, if you look at him, I'm not going to start drawing comparisons to Andre the Giant, but you've got this giant human being in there. It worked for Andre. They did it later on
I
with.
think they probably didn't want to because while he was tall, he was thin.
Yeah.
And it would probably call attention how thin he was.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably why they had the bodysuit with the airbrush muscles on it.
That could be. I don't know, man. It was messed up.
Yeah, it was not good.
Just
not good at all. You should wear what Eddie Dennis wears now.
Basketball shorts
Yeah.
and a tank top. That's good. Yeah, boring ass match too.
Hell yeah,
just
it
because
was.
Giant Gonzales couldn't move, like he would just sort of mill about.
And the Pritchard show, Conrad asked him, so when do you realize it was a mistake signing Giant Gonzales? And Pritchard said, when the bell rang.
Yeah. And Pritchard's the guy who recruited him too, I think, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was him and somebody else.
Oh no, he was big on. I'm thinking of when he was talking about Yoko.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was
When
when
he was talking about Yoko, he recruited him.
Yeah, he liked Yoko a lot.
So they knew about Gonzales in WCW, and Vince apparently didn't like him. But then when he became a free agent, he was like, I'll see what I can do with it.
Yeah. The answer, not a whole lot.
Yeah, he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And then his bumping was terrible.
Yeah,
He
his
had
selling
like,
was
didn't he have
terrible.
like one bump in the match?
Yeah.
And
after the match
had ended. Yeah.
Yeah. And Undertaker basically had to push him over.
Yeah. So yeah, it was an Undertaker match.
But pretty much Undertaker didn't take any bumps either till they were outside and he started getting thrown into the ring steps.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of bumps in this match.
Yeah.
Which I guess if the story is two giants doing battle and neither wanted to give in, makes sense.
Yeah.
This wasn't terribly well executed. Anyways, towards the end, after the Undertaker got tossed into the ring steps a couple times, Harvey Whippleman, who was Giant Gonzales' manager, throws a towel into the ring. Giant Gonzales takes the towel, shoves it in the Undertaker's face.
It's got chloroform.
And there, commentary ringside is like, "What's that smell?
Oh, I can smell.
What's that smell? It smells like chloroform."
I can smell it from here. The chloroform.
Bill Alfonso, who was refereeing this match prior to his managerial duties for Sabu, calls for the bell. Undertaker wins by DQ. Giant Gonzales chokeslams Bill Alfonso. They put the Undertaker on a stretcher and they take him to the back. Mm-hmm. He's back there for maybe 30 seconds. Dong!
Dong!
He stumbles back out to the ring. He takes down the Giant Gonzales after 3 clotheslines. The third one, the jumping one, where he basically has to shove Giant Gonzales over for him to take that bump.
Yeah.
And then that's it. They had another match at SummerSlam, a rest in peace match, where Undertaker won.
I like that they thought, 4 months later, let's
revisit
again.
this.
Let's do this again.
It went so well the first time.
We've had 4 months to think about how terrible this match is. Let's do another one.
Oh, dear.
Okay, so next up, we got a Hulk Hogan interview where he drops a horrible racist slur in referring to Yokozuna. So that was awesome. Sure, that hadn't been
Heel.
horribly inappropriate for decades.
He was a heel. is.
After that, we had our main event: Yokozuna versus Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The story behind this is
there's so much to unwrap.
Sad. It's so sad. Like to listen again to the Pritchard podcast where they talk. Conrad reads an excerpt out of Bret Hart's book about this, where he talks about how he found out he came into Vegas
with his family.
Vince wanted to have a meeting with him, sat him down, and said, "This is the deal. Yokozuna's going to win." And then Hogan's going to
win after that.
The title off him in about 10 seconds later. And Bret Hart was like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "What did I do wrong? Like, I thought things were going good. I thought I've been doing a good job." And Vince is like, "Oh, we're just going in a different direction." But being the professional he is, Bret Hart put together a really, really great match, according to him, where he said, I still wanted to have a good match, and I wanted to show, Vince, what he was missing out on by, ditching me as champ. And he said, I put most of the good stuff in the last minute of the match, even though this was actually a decent match.
That spot where Harry got Yokozuna down pretty early on was pretty creative.
A smaller guy trying to chop down this big giant guy. I thought it was a very creative match.
Yeah.
And so he said, he said that, the finish was really, really hot the way he laid it out. And then Yokozuna apparently just took it upon himself to.
Well, he said he was blown up. He was exhausted.
Yeah.
And said, all right, we got to go home. He called the finish early.
He called the finish early. And Bret's like, all right, what? I can't even do like the cool stuff. So I wonder what that cool stuff was.
Yeah, we'll never know.
Man.
No, here's the real story from the Pritchard podcast is why they decided to put that belt on Hogan again.
Oh, this was hilarious.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
So the decision was made to put the belt on Hogan. And it seems to be for a variety of reasons.
Well, even preceding that, the reason why Vince had wanted to pull the trigger on Bret Hart being a champion was because
he was huge in Europe.
He was really, really big in Europe, and he felt that they could build around that, and he was getting really good.
Find ways to translate that here in the States.
Yeah. He was getting really big responses.
So as customary still this day, there's usually a European tour after Mania. And so the idea was to put the strap on Hogan as kind of like a final hurrah. He'll do one last round of shows in Europe. He'll drop it at King of the Ring 93. That apparently from the get-go was the plan, despite what Bret has said. According to Pritchard, that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Issue is, so at first, they had already sold the tickets for the United Kingdom shows directly following Mania, like the week after.
Yeah.
They already had the gate. They know how much money they were going to charge for.
Yeah.
They already made for it.
Tickets are sold. People know what they're getting.
And so when Bruce said, "Oh yeah, we put the belt on so we could raise prices for the European shows and make more money," and the Conrad's like, "Hold on, tickets were sold. You had the gate already."
Yeah.
No, that's BS. And then Pritchard said, "Well, no, we did to add value to the tour." And then Conrad's like, "Well, which one is it?"
Right.
But nonetheless, Conrad's reasoning is spot on in my mind. And I understand because Bruce said, "Well, while Bret was popular, Hogan was still more popular." I understand that. You can have, if you want to add value to the tour, you can still have Hogan on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be champion.
Right.
It doesn't have to be champion.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it doesn't matter because Hogan wasn't even on the tour.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the tour.
Yeah.
He didn't do a European tour until after he dropped the belt to Yokozuna in July and August. That's when the European tour he was on happened.
Yeah.
So the rationale about him having the belt for this European tour, I mean, Bruce, his recollection to the best of his ability might be correct, but if that's the reason they did it, it never happened.
I think Conrad started to get to the truth of it when he said, "Okay, so here's the deal. Would it be accurate to say," and Bruce totally shrugged it off, but this makes sense if you think about it. Vince was probably charmed by Hogan, who wanted one last run and some more paydays, which he literally said in his own book.
Yep.
And Vince having probably the softest of places. Vince had a soft spot for Bob Backlund. He put him in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Vince had the ultimate soft spot for Hulk Hogan, and on top of that, he probably wanted to try one last hurrah for Hogan for a company that was going through some big changes.
Yeah.
And Hogan probably was right on board with it. It's probably politicking.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came up with the excuse after the fact, well, we're going to give the European tour added value. that makes some semblance of sense. But it was just it was I don't know. I mean,
Bruce at least did say, in hindsight, probably should have kept the belt on Yokozuna. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, would it have? I don't know how much it would have mattered. I mean,
no, not in the long run. But I mean, this episode here, this happened after the Yokozuna Bret Hart match is kind of universally derided as a pretty low point.
Yeah,
in
absolutely,
history.
and it made Bret Hart look terrible.
Yeah.
It really did. And I mean, he regained it because, by the next year he was beating Yokozuna in the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crap. It was definitely crap. Although it made for a hilarious, like when you watch it, it's so bad it's funny to watch.
It is.
It really is.
It's awful.
And hearing Bret talk about, or hearing Conrad talk about Bret's book, talking about how he felt like completely and totally like dejected, but still a professional doing his job.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a wonder. Like, I think, what was the last thing? When was he negotiating? Oh, it was 92. So yeah, he was probably just in the middle of probably a lengthier contract with WWF at this point, because it was prior to the 92 Rumble that Bret was secretly negotiating.
Yeah,
with
allegedly,
WCW.
but then there was like something in the contract rolled over. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had probably signed an extension or signed a new contract just prior to this. So he was probably stuck. Because, man, if you get dicked over like this, how do you not just say, screw you, I'm out of here?
Yeah, no.
Because that's crap.
Yeah.
That is crap.
Yeah. Towards the end of the match, Yokozuna has Bret kind of in his arms. Bret's holding on the turnbuckle cover, the top one, to try to stay away from Yokozuna. Yokozuna's too strong. He pulls Bret away from the ropes, but in the process, Bret pulls the top turnbuckle cover off. Bret then drives Yokozuna's face into the turnbuckle, dropping him. He puts Yokozuna in the sharpshooter, and then Mr. Fuji grabs a handful of powder, throws it in Bret's face. Yokozuna covers him for a win. First time a heel seemingly ended WrestleMania as champion.
Yeah, yeah. But then, like, literally,
He
next
teleported there.
The next camera shot, Hogan's already in the ring.
Man, that's either the fastest he's ever run, or he was just so eager to get in there.
Oh, man.
He was hiding under the ring or something.
He was jacked to get in there, dude.
Oh, my gosh.
He was so hyped to get in
So
there.
apparently Hogan, we've covered this several times, Hogan's out there to protest this massive injustice. And then Mr. Fuji gets on the mic and says, Hogan, I think essentially Yokozuna is going to prove that he is the best. Get in here, let's have a match. And Hogan seems more concerned about Bret having powder thrown in his eyes. And then Fuji says, we'll even put the title on the line. And then Hogan, his ears go up.
Title. And poor Bret has to be the one that validates it.
Go ahead, Hogan, do it.
Not only is he getting screwed royally in front of everybody, he has to sit there and give him the green light. I philosophically am okay with this, Hogan.
Yeah.
Go do it. Go get the title that we all know belongs to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hogan gets in there. The bell didn't even ring, I don't think. Fuji tries to throw the powder in Hogan's face. Hogan ducks, goes in Yokozuna's face. A clothesline and a leg drop later, Hogan is the champion.
Yeah. By the way, that clothesline, Yokozuna sold so much more than any of Bret's.
It's probably because
any of Bret's.
Hogan had a conversation with him backstage.
Probably did.
Brother.
Oh, look, I like you, brother.
Yeah,
I'm never gonna job to that
so
pipsqueak Bret Hart,
between Mania and King of the Ring,
like 3 appearances.
There was more, but they were all tag matches. He did not have a title defense between Mania and King of the Ring. So for 2 months,
He won it and then he lost it. There was no title defense in between.
Nope.
Oh, that's crazy.
he was in a bunch of tag matches at house shows. 8 to be exact. And then he dropped the belt. And then he was in another tag match on Wrestling Challenge. And then I believe that was his last televised appearance in WWF until he came back in the 2000s. He was on this European house show tour.
Scroll back down. The Great Muta one.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh, March. Oh, that was March. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that was May.
Oh, May. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
May 3rd. So then he goes to New Japan.
So his lot.
Was that remember the promo where he talks about being Ichiban?
Yeah.
Was that 93?
It might have been.
Was that in advance of that? Man, that's crazy.
Oh, I know, saying that WWF title was just a stepping stone.
I thought that was after King of the Ring.
Oh, it could have been.
Well, yeah, but did he go back to New Japan?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, in September.
In September.
I'm kind of curious about that now.
What the date on it is?
The date of the promo. Yeah.
He's sitting like in a luxury box or something.
Yeah, no, I remember. Oh, here we go. Let's see if there is a date on this.
You click the... Oh, it's not a link.
Here we go. Let's see if there's a date on it. Ah,
bogus.
What?
It was 93. I think that's the only... Well, no, there's the G1 Climax specials that he could have been on.
Oh, here we go. This is a stepping stone. What month was this? Oh, here we go. Muda. Yeah, it was the Muda match.
Yeah, so he actually was champion. Man.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And I think he had initially denied that I had read somewhere, and I'm not going to say this is for sure, but he had denied that he had ever cut that promo. But, like, you can never...
Yeah.
Is he wearing... Oh, if he's wearing the title there. Because I know he had the title in the promo.
Yeah, he did.
But I figured he probably just owned a title anyways.
Yeah.
Great Muta versus Hulk Hogan. Yeah, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah. This here says that awkward moment when you realize that Hulk Hogan actually knows how to be a technical grappler. I wonder if this is like a great match.
Yeah, who knows? Oh, I saw an armbar.
I know, me too.
Never did that,
what's going to happen here. We should do a tape trade on this.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. We'll save our reactions for a shoot reaction.
There we go.
So, yeah, anyways, he left. And then you'll never see a bigger celebration from one man. Just, it's like, dude, like he was so excited for himself. Beaming. Man. And the crowd was going crazy, too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say crazy.
They were excited.
Everybody likes a big ooh.
People like a moment.
They like a moment, yeah. Yeah. But no, nobody was going crazier than Hulk Hogan. He was very excited.
He was trying to internalize it the best he could, but he could only do so much.
Yeah. Then at one point he was like pointing at somebody. I'm assuming he's Yokozuna, but he was like, "I told you, brother, I'm the man." And it's like he really meant that for Brett, probably. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, WrestleMania 9, worst ever, maybe.
It's not a good show.
It's not a good show, but it's bad. It's bad. Good.
Is bad.
It's bad.
It is bad.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. It is bad.
But it's not boring.
No, that's true.
So at least there's that. I recommend if you're gonna watch it with some friends so you can talk shit because there's a lot of good shit talking in there.
There is.
Anyways, we did receive. I'm actually waiting on it, so hopefully it's in here. If it's not, I'm just gonna cut this out. It's the 1 year anniversary of the Friendoverse.
Oh yeah,
on Facebook, which is a terrific group.
Yes, it is.
Started by our friendo Mikey Omega. He reached out a year ago, said, "Hey, fan of the show, wondering if you'd be okay with us starting a community sort of, based around that. And you guys promote a little bit if you guys." And so I looked him up. He seemed really cool. And sure enough, I'm a big fan of the guy.
Yeah.
And his group, it's like 3,500 strong or so.
It's
and
fantastic,
it is literally the only reason why I still have Facebook is the Friendoverse group, because I really do enjoy just sort of dipping in every once in a while and seeing the conversations that go on. It's a very positive group. If anybody's, this is how Utopia works, man. If you're a dick, you get kicked out. You're not allowed in.
Yeah.
It's very heavily moderated to ensure that the people who are there having active, positive conversations can do that.
Yes.
And he recorded a little video.
Oh, cool.
So we'll run it right now.
Hey, friendos, Mikey Omega here. How's it going? What's up? Long time no see. I'm currently on my porch right now. It's cold and it's rainy out in Texas. So I'll try and make it quick. My dogs are freaking out at the doorway here. They want to come hang out. So yeah, I just wanted to take a second, make this video to let you guys know that we're celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the creation of the Friendoverse. It's awesome. I didn't imagine this was ever going to work out the way it did. It's great. So thanks to y'all for doing what you've done. I remember a year ago when I started this group, complaining to my girlfriend about how much I hated other Facebook groups, or at least other Facebook wrestling groups that I encountered. And they were all, just full of trolls, shitty, really toxic places that I never felt comfortable, never felt like I had a voice in. I was like, man, we should start this group. And it'd be cool because even if we get like maybe just 100 people, it'll make, the crappy episodes of Raw so much easier to tolerate, and then it'll make like the fun ones so much more fun because we'll have all these people to hang out with. And I could never have imagined that we'd be where we are now, 4,000 members later. It's rad. Super appreciative. There's a car passing by. Yeah, I'm super appreciative of you guys. I want to say thanks to everyone who has been in the group since the beginning, for bearing with me while I tried to figure out the best way to make this group as inclusive and as safe of a place for everyone who's into wrestling. I know it was really tough there in the beginning for a little bit. I want to thank all the new members. I just want to thank everybody. Thank everybody for helping maintain the positivity in this group, for taking care of one another, for watching out for each other in this group. And like I said, just keeping this place as positive and welcoming as it is. It's amazing. I know I get a lot of shit in the group for hating everything all the time, but I like you guys, and I like this group, and I like professional wrestling, and thanks for helping to make this place the awesome place that it is, that we can all hang out and yell about this imaginary sport that we love so much. And thanks to Stephen Larson for bringing us all together. So yeah, happy birthday, everybody. We did it. Here's to maybe 10 more years or something. I don't know. We'll see. I'm really cold. So thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Starting at $1 a month, you can enjoy Going In Raw ad-free, gain access to the daily 30-minute Going In Raw post show, exclusive merchandise, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.